In episode 8 of our Travel Back series, we take you on a very emotional journey. We have talked about it on various other occasions, but here you get a special glimpse into the research trip we took back in June 2016 to discover part of my maternal grandma's life story. After she passed away, we found a wooden box filled with letters, which she received during the 1930s and 40s. I got really curious and started to trace back the adventures she took as a young lady. As she spent this era of her life in France, we traveled to the places she used to live and work. Our Tour de France starts in the Normandy, in Villers-sur-Mer to be precise, a picturesque village at the Atlantic Ocean, where the Greenwich, the zero meridian, touches European mainland. One could therefore say that Villers lies directly under the sun. This area looks back at a really long touristic history. The elegant seaside resort Deauville, for example, has been a famous stomping ground for artists, high nobility, as well as the rich and beautiful from all over the world since 1860. It was here that Coco Chanel opened her first boutique right next to the famous casino in 1913. Back then still using her full name, Gabrielle Chanel. The coastal town of Honfleur lies at the Seine's entry into the English Channel and is equally famous amongst tourists. Normandy is very rich in history. Since World War II, the landing beaches of the Allied forces are a poignant reminder of the enormous toll this war took. We visited the region around the anniversary of D-Day and were therefore able to attend various ceremonies. We visited the Pegasus Bridge with its museum, as well as the military cemetery in Ranville. Even the most beautiful weather could not waver the oppressive feeling we felt when looking over the countless graves of mostly very young soldiers. We witnessed a veteran in a British uniform laying down flowers on various graves. Graves of German soldiers, British, Australian, French. We started talking to him, and he told us that in his opinion, in a war, everyone loses. There are simply no winners. He went on saying that even nowadays he is haunted every single night by the screams of his comrades and the screams of injured or dying enemies. If you hear a human scream like that, it shakes you to the core, and it simply does not matter what uniform the guy is wearing, he continued. His words were so powerful, so sad, so touching. Tears were streaming down my face. In the evening, I visited the landing beaches. It was here where the Allied troops coming from the UK initiated France's liberation. The next day we headed out to discover the world-famous and one of France's most recognizable landmarks, Mont Saint. Our journey then took us to the Loire Valley, which is mainly famous for its over 400 castle grounds. Close to Orléans, in Ligny-sur-Ribot, we stayed on the castle ground of Château Bonhotel. It was the exact castle my grandmother fled to in May 1940, after Paris was occupied by German troops. It was a very special time for our family, especially for my mom. We kept wondering in which of the rooms my grandmother might have stayed and how she must have felt during a time of great uncertainty. On one of the days we paid Giovanni Castle a visit. Besides the impressive neoclassical Baroque building, we were amazed by the lovely, extensive gardens. In case the castle looks familiar to you, it was this exact castle which served the artist Hervé as inspiration for his fictional castle Marlinspike Hall in the world-famous comic Tintin. My grandma did not remain safe very long in the castle, as a short few weeks later, German officers occupied Château Bonhotel, and she, together with her employers, felt forced to flee further south. We followed her trace and continued to Biarritz, in the French Basque country, only 35 kilometers away from the Spanish border. After quite some research, we managed to find the house my grandmother used to live in. Since the 19th century, the former insignificant fishing village attracted European nobility, and since the 1960s, Biarritz became famous amongst surfers because of the waves in the Bay of Biscay. After leaving Biarritz, we traveled along the Côte d'Azur. If you're looking for an alternative to the famous Saint-Tropez with its yachts and rather expensive hotels, we can recommend Rayo Canadel-sur-Mer. It is situated right at the Mediterranean Sea. It is calm and offers stunning views. Plus, the unique botanical garden is really worth visiting. we left France with beautiful impressions, a ton of information and a grateful heart. The story of my beloved grandmother was so alive that I decided to turn it into a book. So if you're curious, I link all the information in the description below. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel.